Dead Child Duo podcast episode number 36. It's been 1 year, Alexander.
That's kind of hard to believe.
No.
I feel
Unfortunately
like,
not 52, but
well, yeah, I feel like we started later in July, but you're probably right.
no, I mean when this comes out, we're recording it before the 1 year anniversary.
Oh,
So, if you're watching this the day it comes out, the 1 year anniversary technically was yesterday.
well, there you go. So 1 year.
So,
Hard to
yeah.
believe.
No, my bad. 1 year's tomorrow. I got my calendar mixed up.
Okay, so, but yeah, like if you're watching
Monday.
this
Next
now, it's
Monday.
been a year. I feel like it came out closer to Madden, but then again, I feel like setting up a podcast because, like, for me as a first time, like it was the first podcast I'd been on, but it was the first one where we did audio only distribution, which I had to learn all that from scratch. I got some help from Daniel from The Reasons I'm Broke, but it was an ordeal, man. Like, it's not easy. Like, you're so afraid you're gonna screw something up. I guess that's how I would put it. So July makes sense because I think that's when I wasn't playing Madden. I think I stopped
You want
playing
me
Madden for a
to
month.
destroy your mind?
Yeah.
So, whenever this is something really dumb I accidentally found out, but we did the podcast for 17 episodes before finishing it the first time.
Yeah.
We took a break for 17 weeks, and now we're on the 17th episode since we're back. Or the 18th episode since we're back, but this will come out,
Yeah.
So it's just like 17, 17, 17.
Yeah. And then there's like an extra week in there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's weird.
This episode make it 18, but
So we basically have an off season, is what you're telling me.
yeah. And also that means this episode makes it have gone longer than the first time we quit.
Yeah. So we basically have a 4-month off season starting after this episode. So
Yeah, we gotta see you guys later.
yeah.
See you later, Dumb Sphinx.
Yeah,
Have fun watching this one over and over again.
Yeah. He's like the only, like, I think we really have 5 listeners and a couple people who stumble on the YouTube video. And then, believe it or not, our most popular episode, if you go off of downloads only, and then combined YouTube video views, it would be the first one. So I like to think there are people out there who are probably like just starting to watch or listen. Like, I know that's a very frequent thing.
Yeah.
Like, some people who are looking for a new podcast. So like, if you're listening to this 4 months after we recorded it, like, welcome.
Yeah.
Hope you get caught up soon.
That kind of fits to what I was gonna say. Since we're in year 2 now, allow us to reintroduce ourselves.
Oh,
So Alexander, what do you do?
are we really doing this?
Yeah, go for it. Just quick.
Okay, so I'm a white guy. I'm 34. I'm from Florida. I have a YouTube channel that's not really doing so hot right now. June was the worst month I've had in years, but I'm hoping that turns around a little bit. This is kind of the worst time of year to be somebody who does a lot of Madden on YouTube. And then I do this podcast
Yeah. This is it. This is all you get from me.
for now.
Yeah. You got this channel and my Twitter at AndyHills88.
Well, yeah. So yeah, there's my introduction. I like to think somebody on the audio only version was like, "Whoa, Alex is white."
Yeah.
Nobody
no.
was thinking that. Like,
Jerome's
everybody
black.
knew.
I don't care what anyone says.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second, man. Jerome, he's from
No, it was Mark. Mark's the black one.
It's Mark. Mark was
like,
the one
Mark.
that everybody.
The second he did his face reveal, I was like, Mark, wait a second.
He's like one of those people where, I don't know. Boy, this might come out the wrong way, but like the cadence, the pronunciation, the almost like certain words he says, it doesn't sound white.
Yeah.
And so it's like it really did blow people's minds. And all I'm gonna say is this: if you think I'm lying, or if you think that I'm like stereotyping people or whatever, like go. I think it's Mark the 619. You can look him up on YouTube, and just do this: pull up one of his videos, and don't look at the video. Just listen to the audio. You'll think he's black. I mean, it's just a thing, Conversely, very good friend of mine and somebody who I think listens to the podcast, Julian from Lazy Gaming Guys, back before they did webcams, back before I actually knew him personally, I listened to his voice. I'm like, oh, it's a white dude.
Yeah.
What's wrong on that one? So, voices are weird, man. Voices are weird.
Someone claimed in my senior year history class that I had an accent. And I was like, no.
A little bit. I mean, we all have an accent to somebody.
She was just like, where are you from? And I was like, hey, born and raised here my entire life.
Yeah. See, here's the thing that I always try to think about with accents. Like, the way I talk sounds, in my head, it sounds normal. Like, I don't think I have an accent. I don't feel like I really have a southern accent. I don't really feel like I have a northern accent. My mom was from Jersey. My dad was from Florida. And, so it was kind of a contrast. My dad was, kind of a redneck. My mom, well, I shouldn't say redneck. Really just a southern guy, right? My mom was from Jersey, definitely Jersey girl. So, I don't know. Sometimes I say stuff and people are like, that sounds weird. But I try to think about it, man. Like, if you talk to a British person, they think you're the one with the accent, and they're not. Like, they'll say you have an American accent. It's kind of weird.
You know what British people call soda?
I don't know what they call it.
Fizzy drinks.
Yeah, I've heard that. But, here's the thing. I know quite a few people from the UK. I've worked with quite a few people from the UK over the years. And what you'll find out is, like, if you talk to somebody from Manchester, they talk very differently than somebody from London. You talk to somebody from Wales, they talk very differently from somebody from Manchester. Like, all the different regions.
Well, that's just a different country. Wales is a completely different country.
I thought Wales was part of the UK.
It's part of, it's part of, I don't know. It's a different country. It's part of the four country thing. I'm being dumb right now in my brain.
Well, yeah, but when somebody says they're from the UK, people immediately assume
England.
Yeah.
It's England, Northern Ireland, Wales, and Scotland.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying, man, like, you talk to people, or like Blackpool. You talk to somebody from Blackpool, Manchester, London, you're going to get three very different dialects, accents, vernacular, etc.
I don't know. Alex, what have you been playing / watching? Said it backwards.
So, not much this week, man. This week's been an ordeal. I will not go into all the details. If you want to hear all the details, the entire story, it's on my latest World of Warcraft stream. The one that...
Or Twitter.
Yeah, you can go to Twitter too, but July 2nd, I did a World of Warcraft stream and I told the whole story, but I didn't really have much time to watch or play anything because of that ordeal. I've been watching Stranger Things with my wife. I've been jumping in and out of it. I haven't been watching it like all the way through like she has. She wanted to go back and rewatch it because the season 3 is coming out tomorrow, July 4th. But I really don't need to. I remember it pretty vividly, so it's cool to watch. It reminds me of how good the show is.
Will you finish the whole season in 1 week?
Probably.
So
I don't know
talk
how...
about next episode.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's gonna be though.
Probably
I haven't
10 episodes.
Yeah, I haven't done much research on it. I'm hoping it's still as good. The one thing about that show is I feel like the way they ended off season 2, it could have been the end of the show completely, and I think that could be dangerous because then people will say that's where it should have ended or whatever.
I don't know how many episodes are in season 2, but let's say hypothetically 9. The show's amazing for 1 point. Or let's say 10, because to make that easy. The show's great for 1.9 seasons. The last episode's a stinker.
Okay. Maybe so. I don't know. I try not to be too difficult on it because I realize it's a Netflix original series, and it kind of is what it is. Yeah, but other than that, I really haven't been watching anything. I did watch a movie this week other than DCD Film Club, but I watched Mrs. Doubtfire.
You watched it last week.
Oh wait, no, I did say that last week. Well, then I don't know. I feel like I watched something else, but I totally forget what it was. Oh, you know what I watched? And I want to tell everybody on my channel that I fully think they were trolling me. Everybody was telling me, you got to watch this show, Alex. You like football. It's called All American. Watch All American, Alex. It's amazing. It's awful. It's not even about football. It's about some teenage kid and like there's love triangles. It's like such a CW show. So to everybody who told me to watch that, thanks for trolling me. I got through 2 episodes and I said, I'm done with this crap.
Yeah.
Not enough football. As far as what I've been playing this week, World of Warcraft and a little bit of Pokemon, the trading game, trading card game online. Andy, what have you been watching? What have you been playing?
Playing, you'll never guess. NHL.
Yeah.
Watched Midsummer, and then the DCD Film Club movie. If you want my reviews of those, check out my letterbox. Links in the description. Selfish plug.
Not really selfish. It's actually a really cool way to interact with us.
Yeah.
You could see how we rated every single movie that we watch, pretty much.
You can see every single movie I've rated the past 2.5 years.
Which reminds me, I need to make sure that nobody followed me on there. Probably not.
Sphinx followed me.
Yeah, I don't think it would have followed me. 'Cause my taste in movies is pretty garbage. Anyway, that's pretty cool, Andy. How did you like Midsummer, if you don't mind?
I mean, I'm wearing
Well,
a shirt
I know you
for
got
it.
the shirt. I know that you were pretty... I feel like you were pretty excited about
it's
it.
Ari Aster's second film after
Yeah.
Hereditary, which I rated 10 out of 10. Think is a complete masterpiece. I don't like it as much as Hereditary, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know. You just have to watch it.
That's pretty cool, man. I saw that Jordan Peele said that it was really good and it was a cool new take on the horror genre. And I can appreciate that because if there's one guy who I really think has his finger on the pulse as far as what's a good horror movie nowadays, it's him. Because I still haven't watched Us, but Get Out was outstanding. Really good movie.
Yeah. Listener questions.
None. There are none. Ooh, man. 2 weeks in a row.
I mean, I didn't ask this week because they're punished, remember?
I know. I actually saw on Twitter somebody said, oh, yeah, I'm going to send in a listener question, but it was kind of late at night, so I figured I think it was Daniel.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was Daniel who said like, "Oh yeah, I'll send it in for DCD," but it was like really late at night, and I like to imagine.
I don't know what he was saying. I didn't. He said at both of us, "I'll submit it for Dead Child Duo instead." I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And then I was like, maybe he wants to change his movie selection to It, but he didn't capitalize the I.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me look at this. Hold on.
That's literally the entire tweet.
What does it say? Read it again.
I'll submit it for Dead Child Duo instead. Thumbs up.
Oh. I hope.
Like,
I
don't
really
know what
hope
that means.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So, you know what? I don't even care that nobody's sending listener questions, but I am still kind of angry about it. So, which actually just completely contradicts myself. If I don't care, I shouldn't be angry, but I don't even want listener questions anymore. So 2 weeks in a row, I'm saying this. If you send in a listener question, I'll read it. I'm not answering it. That's it.
Super Mario Brothers 2 is brilliant, apparently.
Oh, okay, Andy. It's not really how I like to frame up a topic here.
That's the exact wording in the doc.
Incorrect. So I wanted to pick Andy's brain a little bit on this because he's somebody who I think is maybe on the fence about the game or maybe just not
I'm not
interested in
buying
it. Okay, well, there you go. So Super Mario Maker 2 came out this week, and did you play the first one, Andy, at all?
Nope.
No. Did you own a Wii U at all? I feel like you did.
Nope.
No? Wow, that's kind of shocking. So Mario Maker 2 comes out this week. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. You guys know that it was something, I want to say in the very early stages of the podcast, I said, I really wish they would have remade Mario Maker on the Switch. Then I found out about Mario Maker 2 and I felt stupid because I don't want them to remake it if they're going to do what they did with this. This game's really good, man. They got like a story mode. I just want to talk about it for a little bit and then ask you a couple questions. So they got a story mode that they added. It's really fun. There's the online play. Already I've had a couple people send me levels and ask me to play them on YouTube, which I will, I promise. But like, it's kind of cool that it's that interactive. So I've always wanted to ask people like Andy, why are you not interested in the game? Like,
there's no point in spending $60 for it.
Oh, okay. Do you like if there was another Mario game that came out on Switch, right? Like Mario Odyssey, I know you purchased that, right? If there was a side-scrolling Mario game that came out, would you buy that?
No.
No?
No.
Why not? Do you like prefer the 3D stuff?
It's just my take on games recently is like, I don't know how to word it. It's just like if I missed out, I'm not like butthurt about it. It's like, I don't know. It's just like I've been playing NHL for the past like 6 weeks. New games don't intrigue me anymore.
Sometimes I feel like I buy too many games and I don't play them enough. If that makes sense. Like lately, the last 6 months, I've told myself to stop buying games when they come out. Unless it's something that, like Mario Maker, that I know I'm going to play.
I'm just becoming like less needy of a person. I'm just like, I don't need the game. $60. I say that as someone that gambles a lot. But that's not real money. That's a different currency. Different country currency.
That's true. It's just sometimes I sit there and I think, like, so this week, I was like, I don't want to pay $60 for Mario Maker. Like, even before this whole thing that came up, this catastrophe that came up in my personal life, I sat there and I said, I don't want to pay $60 for this. But I want the game, so I actually went and I got Division 2, which I'll be honest with you, man. I tried to get into that game 3 separate occasions. I even streamed it one night, and the stream did okay. Like, I got good numbers on the stream, but it was just really repetitive for me, and I just wasn't really enjoying it that much, and it wasn't something that made me go, like, I have to go back. I have to keep playing this. So I ended up trading it for, like, $35+ and just cutting my losses. So it's kind of interesting. The one thing I always hear people say about Mario Maker 2 is they don't feel like they would be creative enough to build the levels.
Jockey Mill.
But the thing is, like, you really don't have to if you don't want to. So yeah, check it out if you're on the Switch. Highly recommend it. Right now, it's my favorite Switch game. That's saying a lot because there's some really good ones out there. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of Switch, want to get Andy's thoughts on this. Have you seen the Nintendo Switch Mini?
No.
That got leaked.
No.
Okay. Well, they're coming out with one apparently, and it's going to be a smaller version of Switch. Presumably, it will have the same specs. I mean, it's going to be a smaller package. So I do kind of wonder about the thermals. Like, how's that going to work? Contrary to what a lot of people thought, there were a lot of people out there who thought you were going to get like a Switch 2.0 or like a Switch Pro, if you will. That clearly doesn't seem to be the case. Like, I can't imagine that they would boost the specs any. You might
just
get
a smaller version.
It's a smaller version, but the Joy-Cons aren't removable. So it's like all one fused piece. And the one difference on, I guess you would call it I guess they're still Joy-Cons or whatever. It looks the same, but it looks like it's a D-pad now below the analog stick on the left side, which I thought was Like, why couldn't I have gotten that in the first place? Because, like, that's the one thing about the Joy-Con that I don't really like is
Buy a new
that...
controller.
What's that?
Buy a different controller.
Well, I do. I have the Pro controller. But, I mean...
What are you complaining about?
Well, when I play the handheld version. Like, I don't want to have
Use the Pro controller.
Andy, what are you trolling me here? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not gonna play it in handheld mode with the Pro controller. That's ridiculous. Like, no.
Why
like,
not switch your one hand, Pro controller in the other?
Oh my goodness, you're such a troll, dude. So they do have one that's made by Hori that you can clip on, and it has a D-pad, but it's like $40. I'm just not gonna do it. But it would be really cool to have that for Tetris. So my question for you is, do you think it matters? Do you think that there are people out there who would buy? No?
I've been saying no to everything.
I know. I've noticed, man.
No,
So, like,
it doesn't matter.
See, I've done a lot of thinking about this, and
You'll make the Switch cheaper. Probably.
Possibly. My initial thought on this one, I think it probably will be, because the rumor for the longest time about the smaller version of Switch that they've been talking about is the possibility of making it to where it's not a system that you dock and hook up to a TV, which I think is kind of a questionable strategy, but then at the same time, it might be brilliant if it lowers the cost. I'm not really sure. But I kind of wonder if there's a market for it. But then I have to keep in mind, like, I'm the guy who, if it wasn't for my wife, the Switch would never be played in handheld mode, like 95% of the time. Because I don't take my Switch with me anywhere. Do you?
I mean, I live in, I'm at work, on break sometimes.
See, that's fair. I guess if I had to go into an office, I could see myself bringing a Switch with me. I also think, like, for kids, it would be kind of cool because the DS is going away. You know that, right? Like, the last 3DS game is done, over with. Like, there's no more new DS games coming out. So, like, I feel like this would be the thing
dead forever.
No.
They have 3DS, man.
Well, okay, dude. Come on, man.
You gotta get your facts straight.
God, I hate this podcast. I can't wait for the off season. Anyway. So, like, yeah, my big thing was I think this would be good for kids. Because eventually the 3DS line...
To quote the great Michael Jordan, F them kids, bro.
Did you hear... So, anyway, Switch Mini, I'm looking forward to it. I would probably buy one before we move on to our next topic here. But, like, what I was trying to get to was I only play my Switch at home. But someone like Annie brings it on the go. And I actually have a friend...
once every blue moon.
And I have a friend who won't take his Switch on the go because it won't fit in his pocket, right? So presumably, Switch Mini comes out, it fits in your pocket. Maybe this guy buys a second Switch. And
the Switch can fit in my pocket.
Yeah, but, like, everybody's pockets are different, man. Like, because...
Hoodie pocket, man.
Hoodie pockets are good. Like, when I wear baggier jeans, I notice, obviously, the pockets are bigger.
Get some cargo shorts. You can throw your Switch in one of those.
Cargo shorts are good. Cargo shorts you could usually get by. But, like, for example, when I was in better shape, I used to wear some pretty tight jeans, show off the buns.
Nat booty.
Hell yeah, man. And those came with some tiny-ass pockets, man. I mean, the pockets... like that they put on these tighter men's jeans, it's unbelievable how small they are. You're like, if I put my keys in, it's like this little bulge, like what is it? Because the keys just all pushing together. And then, like, I had a pair, again, this was when I was, I weighed a little bit less. I'm trying to get back there, man. I gotta lose another 30 pounds and I'll be back there. But I'd put on a pair of, like, jeans that were like a looser fit. I'm like, oh my god, I could put anything in these pockets. Like, these would be great if I was shoplifting or had to carry a Switch Mini with me, any of that. So I think it's going to be cool. I might buy one for my wife. If the price is right, I could see myself buying one for my wife because she's been taking the Switch to work lately. And I feel like
Get her
she
a
would.
case.
I'm sorry?
Get her a case.
Oh, we've already got a case. It's all
right.
good. Yeah.
I was like, don't destroy your Switch.
Hell no, dude. I think it was expensive. Like, I think, what were they, $2.99 when they came out? I think they're still $2.99.
They're still $2.99. The price hasn't changed.
Yeah, okay. Well, they never did.
Nintendo is the Disney of, like the Disney of Blu-rays to video games.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, the Wii U definitely got a price
change.
Wii U got a price drop. The Nintendo Wii gradually. The GameCube. I remember the GameCube got cheap real quick, but I think it kind of depends on how successful something is. Because like you look at N64, it price dropped when it had to because it was selling so well. The GameCube, it wasn't selling as well, so, you got price drops. Same thing with the Wii U. Anyway, moving on. DCD Film Club. Our review this week is of The Prestige from 2006, directed by Christopher Nolan. It's got Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale as the leads.
Huge jacked man.
Huge jacked man, yes. So, I've seen this movie before. Really liked it. Enjoyed rewatching it this week. Andy, I believe, has never seen it, but he knows the twist at the end.
Yep.
So, I will tell you guys, if you haven't watched this movie, just pause the podcast right here, go watch it, and then come back, because we're probably going to spoil some stuff. I think you kind of have to.
We will.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to.
I mean, every week we spoil it, so.
Yeah, well, I just like to warn people, hey, maybe just.
Half the time you're like, oh, this movie came out then, but now that's your pick, you're like, oh, we can't spoil it.
Okay, I'll try to be more.
You're being a hypocrite.
Okay, I'll try to be less
I know
hypocritical.
We got in a big argument one time because I called you a hypocrite.
Oh, that argument, huh?
I don't remember what it was about, but I called you a hypocrite jokingly a long time ago, and you got actually butthurt.
Because I feel like it was a joke that was rooted in oh, that's haha funny, but it's funny because it's true type thing.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember either, so it's who cares?
Anyways, The Prestige.
The Prestige. Andy, what are your thoughts on this movie?
As someone knows the ending.
Okay.
I just, it was I don't know. I couldn't attach myself to the characters because I knew the ending. It'd be different if I watched it without knowing the ending and then rewatched it with the ending, because I'm like, oh man, so cool. But I've heard it's just it's like Luke, I am your father. Or sorry, no, I am your father. It's just it's nothing special with the movie knowing the ending. But other than that, it's kind of, I don't know, I couldn't get really attached to the characters, and it was just an alright movie. I feel like giving it the benefit of the doubt, it would have been a good one if I didn't know that. I did get a bit of the Fountain-y vibe with Hugh Jackman and his diary, reading and writing it.
I could see that.
To reference to an old DCD Film Club. I don't know. I don't have that much thoughts of the movie because, of the action movie, but we can talk about some concepts in the movie after your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like I'm sure people that listen to this, the 5 people that do, they think that
Okay, it's 3.
Yeah, okay, it's 3. I was counting me and you. That's how I got to 5. But but all joking aside, this movie is something that I watched it not knowing the ending. And when Andy said I couldn't really attach myself to any of the characters, couldn't really get into it as much because I knew the ending, it was kind of reminding me of at one point in the movie where Christian Bale's character tells his eventual wife's nephew tells him when somebody knows the trick behind your magic, like when you show them how it all works, you're worthless to them. Like, the mystery is what makes something worthwhile. And this is one of those movies where I really feel like if somebody did ruin the ending for you, it's like, I really feel like it's kind of on the same level of The Sixth Sense, where that movie got ruined.
This is kind of an outlier, though. Technically, there's a psychological study, and if things get spoiled, you're supposed to like them more based off. It's always based off books, but
maybe
they did like a study that showed that if something's spoiled, you like it more.
I honestly hate when things get spoiled. I really do. I could be wrong on it. It really screws things up for me. And I'll never forget when I was in 8th grade, The Sixth Sense came out, and everybody's like, you gotta see it, you gotta see it, you gotta see it. And
don't spoil it for the 3 people that don't know the ending.
Okay, well, here's the thing, dude. Like, my family wouldn't go to the movie theaters. The reason why is it was just like really expensive to take a family of 4 to the movie theater. So my stepdad was really big on Blockbuster. We'd go rent something the weekend it came out, and he had a good audio system that he kind of built part by part over the years and all that. But I remember watching The Sixth Sense, and it got ruined by one of my friend's moms. She just could not shut up about it. She ruined it. And I'm like, it's not even out of theaters yet. Like, so inevitably when we watch this thing, it's ruined for me. So, like, I feel like the Prestige is like that. Some quick thoughts on the movie, from my perspective. Love the way it's filmed. Yeah. Cinematography was outstanding. Really had a huge Nolan vibe in the way it was filmed, and the soundtrack itself. Like, it really, it's Christopher Nolan. You just do. And I mean, that's a good thing, because he has a very distinct style, and I like that style. And I guess if you're out there and you don't like Christopher Nolan, you probably wouldn't like this movie. But the themes in this movie, man, they're so strong for me. Like, I really like the concept of 2 people that are obsessed with one-upsmanship, 2 people who are rivals, and it just never ends. And they will destroy everything and anyone in their path on the way to discrediting or killing their rival, you name it. And I really feel like that's how Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale's characters, Angier and Borden, act throughout the whole movie. Like, nothing else matters. Everything takes a back seat. Personal relationships, marriages, relationships, partnerships, here's where I'm going to get into spoilers. Like, Hugh Jackman's character is willing to create a duplicate of himself and drown one of them to create this illusion of teleportation. He's that obsessed.
That's not what happens.
That is what happens.
He makes a duplicate of himself and then kills himself.
Yeah.
That's not what he said.
Well, okay.
No, he makes it like...
Yeah, he drops through. He goes into a tank.
Say Andy
he drowns.
A and Andy B. Andy A makes the duplicate, aka Andy B. Then Andy A kills himself. Then Andy B makes a duplicate of Andy C. Then Andy B kills himself. So it's a new person every single time.
Yeah.
The way you put it is just like Andy A makes duplicate, kills the duplicate. Sorry.
Okay, fair enough. So, yeah, like, I mean, I was just gonna... I don't really know where I was going with that. I lost track. See, I like that concept that they really bring out here. I love the suspense of it all. I thought that was something that was prevalent throughout. Like, the entire time, you really... Again, like, when you know the ending, not so much. But I remember watching this the first time, and I'm like, how does Borden do it? Like, what does he have? Like, what could it possibly be? And everybody's stumped. Yeah. Experts, illusionists, fellow illusionists that are not part of this rivalry, even Scarlett Johansson's character really doesn't truly know. Like, nobody knows. And then, like, when you get the twist at the end, I mean, it's just so epic. Like, it just stuck with me, man. Like, there's two moments at the end that stick with me. One, when he finds all the bodies that were drowned. And then two, when you find out that Borden is actually two people. Like, that screwed with me. And it was like, I guess what I liked about this movie the most is it was illusionism within a movie about illusionism. And I like that. I felt like it was maybe not something that you rewatch, but I feel like this is a movie that I could give to my wife and watch with her, and I'd enjoy watching it with her. And she'd probably be like, oh, that's a really cool movie. So
at the very end, Master Wayne.
No. That's the post-credits scene.
Master Wayne.
You get like a little teaser for Dark Knight Rises or whatever. Oh man.
He gives Master Wayne his kid back.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. Really good movie. Really good movie. I also have to comment, it is unbelievably hard. I don't know what happened with this movie, but it's really hard. It must be some kind of licensing issue or maybe just like a production issue.
On HBO.
I get that.
Or what was your question?
Well, my point, it wasn't really a question.
It's hard to find?
Yeah, it was on the 4K version. It's like almost impossible to find. And
that's because the 4K version. It's because Nolan has like the Nolan collection 4K. And it's like, it's really expensive. It's like $120 and it's all his movies in 4K. That's like the first release of most of his movies in 4K. And that was one of them. That was like a first time 4K release.
Oh, okay. Because, I mean, I went on Amazon and I went on eBay and I went on Best Buy. And it looked like they had a SKU for it on Amazon, but not Best Buy. So maybe people were buying the collection and then just like splitting them up individually and selling them. But it's incredibly expensive. Like, I was on eBay, I was on Amazon, and it looked like I couldn't find it for less than $80. So I'm hoping it gets remastered in 4K and released by itself, because I would really like to do that. Or maybe if they want to put a 4K digital version out, I would definitely buy that. But I rented this one, so. But great movie. Out of all of the Nolan films, I don't really count the Batman films because I'm kind of a superhero nerd, so I really like those. Yeah. But like, if I had to pick a Nolan film, like out of, Prestige and like, actually, you know what? The only Batman film I would put over this one would be Dark Knight. And then I put Batman Begins just a little bit below this one. But I like this movie more than Inception, and I know Inception did way better in the theaters.
I'm just gonna talk about his best one, Memento.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch that one.
Another movie where, if you don't know the ending, it's amazing.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch it.
But that one has better rewatchability.
True.
Yeah. But whenever I said don't spoil The Sixth Sense, it reminded me, you could have ruined someone's experience, like how you went through Shawshank Redemption not knowing anything.
Well, okay.
Yeah, don't spoil things.
But I warned them. I put out a big disclaimer.
For this movie.
Oh, man, dude. Like, I really feel...
I'm just saying, hypocrite.
This is not my week on this podcast. So, on a 10 scale, Andy, what's your rating of this one?
I gave it a 7.
So, once again, the trend continues.
I was supposed to go second, by the way. I don't know. What would you rate it? Trend continues?
Yeah, just chalk that up to another mistake here. I give it an 8.
I was gonna give it a 6, but then I was like, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt because I knew the ending. I'll give it one extra point.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. So, I'm surprised. You didn't have much to say about it. Usually when you don't have much to say, it's like, 6 or 5 or like,
I mean, I knew the ending. It's nothing out there. Well, it is, but like, I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not like blown away by the movie because I already knew the ending.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those weird things where I like a lot of movies. I don't think that it matters that much, but this one I really do think, because it's such a build and it's such a that's one of the things that's masterfully done with how they wrote this screenplay, because it's an adaptation, right? And those don't always go well. But like what I liked about it is that it's a real slow burn, really slow burn, and it's actually a little bit out of sequence too. So like it teases you and teases you and teases you and teases you, and every time you think you have the right answer, you don't. It's really cool that way. So highly recommend checking it out. If you did watch The Prestige this week, leave us your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to think about it. Like just give us a 10 scale rating even. Like, but yeah, we'd love to hear it. So this next week, we ran a poll on Twitter from our patrons. They got to select. We only have 2 patrons at the moment, so maybe check out patreon.com/DCD podcast. But yeah, Spoon Sandwich and Daniel picked City Lights, and what's the other one called? Always Be My Maybe. Yeah, from 2019. I have not watched either one of those movies, and it appears that we're going to be watching City Lights. So
Charlie Chaplin film.
Yeah.
It's a silent film.
Yep.
So something we haven't done, we haven't covered.
Wait, is it a silent film?
Yeah. Like 90% sure it's silent.
I could have sworn it wasn't.
I mean, most of Charlie Chaplin's work is.
No, it definitely is a silent film.
Like I don't know. If you told me Charlie Chaplin had only silent movies, I would believe you, because they mostly are.
I want to say he did a few later on, and I thought that this was one of them that wasn't a silent film, but I was definitely wrong. I'm just really disappointed in Daniel for picking this one.
Are you? It's like one of his favorite movies of all time.
I mean, but it's not the greatest. It's not Avengers Endgame, so.
Yeah, that's what our doc says he picked.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're not gonna pick the greatest movie of all time,
so
definitely a sheep.
You want to watch this? It's on YouTube, Amazon Prime, Google Play, and Vudu, all for $2.99.
There you go.
Or you can R.
I kind of wonder if I can find a digital code at an affordable price. If I could find a physical media version of it, I'd probably just purchase it, because, I mean, it is obviously an all-time great movie. I have not seen it, though. I've never seen it. So
it has a Criterion collection. So
there you go. One of those where it's going to cost like $80, but it'll be like the most beautiful Blu-ray set you've ever seen in your life. Yeah, $32. Jesus Christ. I don't know if I can drop
this Criterion's $22.
Yeah.
On Amazon.
Oh, there you go. I don't know. I might buy a digital code.
$15. $7 more to own the Criterion.
Yeah, it's not terrible. $15 for a digital code. Anyway, check it out, guys. City Lights next week. Looking forward to it. Definitely something different here on DC. I don't think we haven't done a silent movie yet, so.
Nope.
So cool. Moving on to sports. I just want to say a couple sad things happened this week. Tyler Skaggs, obviously in the MLB, passed away. That one was just kind of shocking. I don't know much about him, because I don't really follow baseball that intensely. If you didn't play on the Marlins, I probably don't know much about you, but definitely tragic. And then today I was just kind of like, this one really made me sad, because I grew up watching this guy. Jared Lorenzen passed away today at 38. And God, I watched that guy play at Kentucky, the hefty lefty.
Nope.
Guy was
Super Bowl
like
champ.
he was didn't he did win a Super Bowl, didn't he, with the Giants,
Yep.
right? Yeah, so he was on a Super Bowl team. As a backup, but he was on the team.
Hey, still got a ring.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give it to the guy. He didn't go drafted, but he had a really good college career from what I can remember. He's certainly a memorable player. And then even after he played in the NFL, he was playing like lower level football leagues. And at one point, I want to say he was playing football at over 300 pounds at quarterback, which is kind of a testament to what kind of an athlete he was. Kind of makes you wonder, like, if he was able to control his weight, would he have had a better career? Probably. It's just really sad, man. Like, I don't know if you saw the ESPN feature they did on him. It was like an E60. Nope. Oh, man. Broke my heart. He got to like over 500 pounds at one point, and he lost 100 of it, but, I mean, obviously it wasn't enough. So, take care of yourselves, guys. It's awful. I mean, 38 years old, just way too young. Next topic. NBA free agency.
Yeah.
Boy, this league looks way different next year.
Somewhat.
There's just so much movement.
It's slightly different.
I don't know. I feel like the West is totally wide open right now.
No.
Okay.
I'll get that. Kevin Durant, Kemba Walker. What am I saying? Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving go to the Brooklyn Nets. Sorry, did not mention him. DeAndre Jordan, all in all his gloriness, also went there.
So I feel bad for the Nets because every time they spend money, it doesn't work out for them. Like, I really wanted to like what they did when they had Joe Johnson, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Brooke Lopez,
Deron Williams.
Yeah, they had a loaded roster of guys that were just like a little bit past their prime, but you sat there and you go, maybe if they all play together, it'll work out. And I want to say they got busted out of the playoffs in the first round or second round the next year. I like the Nets owner. I kind of like his approach. He's not unafraid to spend money. But I got to say, I don't think this is going... I think in retrospect, we're going to say this was a bad deal. Like, how do you think Kevin Durant's going to come back from that injury? Think he's going to be the same?
It's just going to affect his athleticism. He's still going to score at a high pace.
I just always... as an Orlando Magic fan, I always wonder about signing a player that's on crutches, basically, right? Because they signed Grant Hill in Orlando. He had a broken ankle. He'll be back. It'll be just fine. Plagued him for years. He missed an entire season at one point. Like,
Kevin Durant's supposed to miss this entire season.
That's also really weird to me. Like, how weird is it that you signed this guy to I think it was a max deal or pretty close
max. It's 10 mil off from a max because him and Kyrie both took 10 mil off their max to sign the great center DeAndre Jordan.
A guy whose game has not aged as well as you would like it to, probably. But
they have a pretty solid squad. But they aren't even favorites in the East, in my eyes.
I don't think
even
that
with Kevin Durant playing.
Yeah.
I mean, they line up to be Kyrie Irving, Karis LeVert, Kevin Durant / Joe Harris, Redanius Crooks, Jarrett Allen, DeAndre Jordan, and then I don't remember any of the bench players because most of them were traded to the Warriors. It's just like that's not a contending team.
Probably not.
But they still have another year before they will be contending because Kevin Durant, it will also be out for a season.
I don't know. I just think it's weird signing a guy who's not going to play his first season.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre to me, but well.
I don't know. Then we have going off that, after that D'Angelo Russell got traded to the Golden State Warriors as part of a package with Travion Graham, Shabazz Napier, and some cash and all that stuff was thrown around. But D'Angelo Russell joins the Warriors.
Shabazz Napier always seems to get tossed around in some trade every offseason, but this is a really weird one for me. I feel bad in a way for D'Angelo Russell. I think I get why what happened, but in a better world that was more fair, they would have renounced Russell's rights and just let him sign wherever he wanted. But I get that the Warriors
he's on the trade block.
Yeah, I mean,
Warriors are going to potentially trade him.
Yeah, because this is just trade bait. Like, I know that he'll probably start the season in Golden State. Might even make it to the trade deadline with Golden State, but I can't imagine him and Stephen Curry on the court together for long stretches of time.
I think they're a contender with him on the court. I think they're probably my favorite to win it all with D'Angelo Russell.
The Warriors?
Yeah. Yeah. They're still the best team in the league.
So we're taking out Klay Thompson.
With Curry. No. Curry, D'Angelo Russell, Klay Thompson, DeAndre. Sorry. I'm losing my mind. Curry, D'Angelo Russell, Klay, Draymond, and then Kevon Looney / Willie Cauley-Stein as a starting lineup.
I don't see it. I don't know. I could be wrong. I hope I am for D'Angelo Russell's sake, but
are still the best team in the league. If I put money on it right now, they're winning it all next year.
I mean, I really feel like the West is pretty open, so I could see it.
I don't know. It was a move the Warriors had to make, and Kevin Durant gets paid more than the Brooklyn side, so.
It's true. I mean, I like that they got an asset back for Durant. You know, yeah. I mean, if he's going to leave, get something for him. And then they jettisoned Andre Iguodala for something. I forget what that was.
You lagged a lot. I didn't hear a single thing you just said.
After that, or like maybe it was shortly before that, they jettisoned Andre Iguodala for something.
Yeah. Andre Iguodala feature first for nothing.
Wait,
for literally nothing. They got zero back.
Oh, wow.
Not even in cash considerations. They literally gave the Grizzlies Andre Iguodala and a future first.
It's kind of hurtful, man.
You know, Andre Iguodala is apparently going to get bought out, and the rumors are he's going to go to LA, to the Lakers, or he's going to go to Houston. But apparently Houston is interested in trading before the buyout. So that's probably what will happen if he gets traded to Houston.
Interesting. I assume it would be so Houston could dump salary. Because that seems to be their MO lately. Dump a bunch of salary.
I don't know. Another sign and trade deal. Jimmy Butler goes to the Miami Heat. Sixers receive back Josh Richardson. Which is just like a solid piece to get back. It's weird. Like this is how free agency works. If the player leaves, you don't get anything back for it. But Sixers are still contenders their biggest issue is ego. But Jimmy Butler joins the Heat because he wants to join a contender. Which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever said in my entire life. It's going to be him and Boogie Cousins next year. That's it.
Oh, so Cousins is going to Miami?
There's literally zero market for Cousins right now, and the Heat are the only team meeting with him left. Like that's his only meeting. He met with the Celtics, and the Celtics said, "Nah, we're gonna give Daniel Tice 2-year $10 million deal instead of signing you." And then the Celtics also signed a foreign player.
Yeah, because I had seen that there was no market for Cousins, and I'm thinking like somebody will pick him up, but I just don't know who. I guess the Heat would be a good fit. You know, that does sound about right. I don't think that it makes the Heat a contender. I think Jimmy Butler probably gets them close to playoff territory maybe, but they're going to need...
No.
He's going to need some help from the guys they have down there now. I really wonder why he didn't want to stay in Philly. That's kind of where I really struggled with, like,
Because
why?
he's a ball dominant, and Ben Simmons is ball dominant.
Yeah. I don't know. The 76ers is going to be kind of weird because they signed Tobias Harris to a massive deal. And I'm still not sold on that guy being, like, close to a max player.
Yes, sent Al Horford to an insane deal.
Yeah, and then, Simmons is getting a max deal. So really what you're looking at is that team as it's presently constructed is as good as it gets with the salary cap in place. So I don't know, man. I don't know but then again, I mean, I guess everybody's kind of waiting on where Kawhi Leonard's going to go, because if he leaves Toronto, I think that really opens up the East a little bit.
He's going to sign 1+1. The Bucks are still the best team in the East if Kawhi resigns. But the Sixers did their best ability. The Sixers did something smart, and that's what most teams in the NBA are building their teams to stop the Warriors for the past couple seasons. The Sixers built their team to stop Giannis.
Yeah.
They have Joel Embiid, Al Horford. Just literally, Giannis can't score. Arguably the two best defensive centers in the league. And they're going to be at the court at the same time.
Well, it'll
They're
be
a massive
interesting.
team.
It's going to be interesting in the East next year because there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of, new looks, new lineups. I kind of like it.
Sixers' potential downfall is ego and three-point line.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, in today's... I kind of hope they make it work. Like, it'd be fun to watch a team that doesn't rely so heavily on threes, because, like, everybody's doing that now. Like, that's kind of the current NBA. Like, three-point shooting is a huge deal.
Is Tobias Harris on the team.
That's not saying much. He's not a very good three-point. I mean, he's good, but he's not real
Al Horford
good.
or Josh Richardson.
Again, guys that
don't specialize in three-point shooting.
Like the old rule of thumb with three-pointers.
Mike Scott, that's a three-point. He's a three-point legend.
Yeah, I mean, the old rule of thumb used to be if you could hit 33% or more, like, we want you shooting the three. Yeah. And then if you're anything above that, it's good. If you could get close to 40%, like, you're really good at three-pointers. But those players are rare. The ones that can shoot it close to a 40% clip. Speaking of guys that, one move that I thought was really intriguing, I kind of wanted to ask you about this one, was the Derrick Rose deal. I mean, he had just such a great year this year, like almost a borderline resurgence to his career.
Yeah. Gets
a 2-year deal. How do you feel about that one?
Detroit will always suck. It's like they're just... I don't know. It's cool, I guess. It's a cheap deal. Detroit's just not a team that will ever compete in my lifetime.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Detroit gets guys who...
Is Derrick Rose any better than Reggie Jackson?
Yeah.
Like, that much better?
Well, not that much better.
Or Reggie Bullock?
Again, not that much better, but better. I mean, I don't know, man. Blake Griffin went out to Detroit, and it's like he just disappeared. Like, I don't really remember much happening with Blake Griffin. I mean, I know he had that injury towards the end of the year, and, like, he was trying to tough it out, dude. But yeah, it just... It kind of goes to show how when a player goes from a major market like LA to somewhere like Detroit, you just don't hear about him as much. But he quietly had a good year. I kind of wonder how him and Rose will play together. Like, it might be good. I don't know.
Oh. Then we have the last semi-major team, like, changing, I guess, is Bogdanovich goes to Utah, 4-year, $73 million deal. And I know this makes the Utah is my second favorite in the West, and they could easily win it all. They're the top two favorites to win it all in my head is Utah and Golden State.
it's kind of weird, man. Like, I feel like it's good for the league that teams like Utah, Toronto, Milwaukee, like I know the league probably hates it from a rating standpoint.
Yeah.
But I think that long term, if we get a Utah Milwaukee NBA Finals, Adam Silver is gonna lose like the hair that he doesn't have. But like seriously, I think it would be good for the league long term because it'll tell people it's not gonna be the same 4 teams every year. It's not necessarily true, but I mean, for a while there, we were getting Warriors, Cavs. You know, it got kind of old, especially for casual fans that I used to talk about. And the Spurs, yeah. And I mean, like, you know, some of the casual fans that I know, people that kind of dabble in basketball, they're not even casuals, right? They're the people who, if it's on TV, they'll watch it if, you know, nothing is on and maybe it piques their interest. So I feel like it'd be good. You know, it might get people more excited about the NBA as a whole. And those Warriors bandwagoners, like, and the people that follow LeBron on whatever team he goes on, they're still going to watch. Like, a lot of those people became Lakers fans, and the Lakers will probably be better next year, right? I mean, and then you said the Warriors will probably still be a contender.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would go. So, like, I don't know if I'd call them a contender because I want to see that team play, right? But if they got
to play,
well, I'm just saying if they got a healthy Stephen Curry and a healthy Klay Thompson, that's different. Do you think Klay Thompson will be back at the beginning of the year?
Nope.
So, like, once he comes back, I think yeah. But without Klay,
it doesn't matter. They just have to make the playoffs. But it's the Warriors. It doesn't really matter what seeding they get.
That's fair.
They play great home and away.
There was I don't even know the guy's name. He's on ESPN. He was on Sports Center in front of like that big ass TV that they got in the background. He's like, I have a bold prediction for you. This team doesn't even make the playoffs. I was like, I don't know about that. That's too far for me. Like, I feel like even if Klay Thompson doesn't play at all next year, they'll figure out. Steve Kerr's a good coach, right? He's a pretty good coach. He'll probably get them to like at least an 8 seed, and maybe Klay Thompson could come back. I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna say they're not gonna make the playoffs. That'd be crazy.
If I had to predict the playoffs as of right now, which is ridiculous because we haven't seen how any of these teams played, but based off paper, 1 seed's Utah, 2 seeds Golden State, 3's Denver, 4's Trailblazers. God, the rest of 5 would be the Spurs, I guess.
Yeah, I got.
Then the Kings and the Clippers and the Thunder and the Rockets compete for the last spots.
Yeah, I mean in the East, I got Orlando at 1, Bucks at 2, Toronto probably at 3. I don't know, man. I like Brooklyn as a 4 seed because they're adding Kyrie Irving, and I think he's a slight upgrade. And that team was already really, you know, really good and young and talented. I don't know, man. I think the East is going to be really cool.
Yeah, the East, I'd go Milwaukee, Toronto, Indiana, Phoenix, Indiana, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, Boston, Orlando.
Indy's going to be serious.
I'll throw the Bulls at 8 seed.
Indy could be serious because they're getting Oladipo back. And I like Oladipo.
Victor Oladipo. They also added they added Oladipo, they added Malcolm Brogdon, a player of the 50-40-90 club last year. They added Jeremy Lamb, but also they now have 3 players named TJ on the same team. They have TJ Warren, TJ Leaf, and TJ McConnell.
That's so crazy. There's not even really that many TJs out there.
That's probably like all the TJs in the league.
But the Pacers have 3. Look at that. Yeah. I think TJ Ford used to play for them way back when.
But also the Pacers also lost some. Like they lost Thad Young. He's the captain of the team. He went to the Bulls.
Yeah.
Who's their point guard last year? Darren Collison retired out of nowhere.
That was unexpected. But here's the thing about Darren Collison. You tell me if I'm wrong on this. I think that, like, sometimes players, I want to take a step away. I want to work on my faith, my family, etc. And then after a year, they get that itch again. I think that in a year, if Darren Collison wanted to come back to the NBA, he's going to have a lot of people calling up. So, because I know he was set to be a free agent, and he was set, from what analysts were saying, he was probably going to make about $10 million a year. I think he'll probably get the desire to play again, and I think he's young enough and good enough to where he could come back. I think the Pacers would probably love to have him back, and I could think of several other teams that would love to have a point guard like that, either as a starter or off the bench. I like Darren Collison. Good dude, good player.
What's your thoughts on Vucevic, Ross re-signing, and then adding Al-Farouq Aminu?
So I like Al-Farouq Aminu a lot. I like what he brings to the table defensively. And
Michael Carter-Williams, he re-signed too, sorry. Don't mean to offend him. For Rookie of the Year.
he was Rookie of the Year in a year where there were like no other good rookies, or like there were a bunch of injuries or something. I don't remember exactly what the scenario was.
He had the debut game, he dropped a bunch of points on LeBron, and then ever since then, it was just like, he's Rookie of the Year. I mean, it was the 2013 draft class, I think.
So I always really liked Michael Carter-Williams going back to his days at Syracuse, because he was a Jim Boeheim guy, and like that guy's usually a really good evaluator of talent. So I really like Michael Carter-Williams, but glad they re-signed him. He'd be great off the bench. Al-Farouq Aminu, I think, brings a lot defensively. Terrence Ross, if he can continue the production he had last year off the bench, 100% that signing is a slam dunk. It's actually quite a good value. And as much as I don't like that, so basically they turned Oladipo and Sabonis into Ibaka that turned into Terrence Ross. As much as I don't like that, and I'd rather have Oladipo back, Terrence Ross is really good. But the Vucevic deal is a great one. I saw a lot of Magic fans really upset, thinking that it's the Magic are like giving up on Mo Bamba. But here's the thing, like, I don't know what team you guys were watching last year if you think that's the case, because Vucevic was the best player on the Magic. He just was. You can't let that guy walk. And Mo Bamba struggled with three things. One, his maturity, both on and off the court. His basketball IQ, it'll get there. He can learn. But right now, sometimes out there he looks a little bit lost. And sometimes in the locker room, he's been known to be a little bit immature. They knew this when they drafted him. He had this issue in college. He had it in high school. He'll get over it. You can work with the kid. To his body, he's not NBA ready from a body perspective. He gets pushed around a lot because he's really tall, but he's really thin. And three, he's got to have a better motor on the court. It's inconsistent. His motor on the court is very up and down, up and down. And a lot of it has to do with how he's playing. And that's just kind of a thing that happens with a lot of younger players. So I feel like it's a 4-year deal with Vucevic. If Mo Bamba makes huge strides in the next 2 or 3 years, and they have to trade that Vucevic deal because we just can't hold this kid back anymore, we can't keep him on the bench, well, that Vucevic deal is very easily tradable. But if Mo Bamba doesn't pan out, you know what you're getting in Nick Vucevic. So I liked it. A lot of Magic fans didn't. But I will tell you this about Magic fans. They're like a lot of NBA fans. They got big old hard-ons for rookies and young players and all that. And then, like, if you're close to 30 in the NBA, oh, they're washed up. Get rid of them.
I mean, Orlando doesn't have a rookie. Technically, he's not going to play this year.
No, you're right. You're right, but I guarantee you if you go on Orlando Magic message boards right now, they're just losing it. Oh, this kid's going to be great.
Oh, Kiki, he was amazing at the March Madness. Oh.
They Magic fans are notoriously bad for it. Like, when the Magic drafted Elfrid Payton, who, by the way, went to the New York Knicks of all places, that kid's not ready for what he's going to get in New York. But Elfrid Payton, when he got drafted, like, I remember every Magic fan I knew would get mad at me, like visibly mad at me when I was like, I like that he can pass. I like how he defends when he tries, but that kid can't shoot and he needs to cut his hair. And everybody's like, that's messed up, man. It's kind of racist that you're telling him he needs to cut his hair. I'm not telling him he needs to cut his hair, but he should. You know, like, he should cut his hair if he wants to. And look at that. He cut his hair. His shooting percentage goes up. Wow. Big surprise. But Elfrid Payton, man, people were like dying on that hill for him. And when he got traded, people were losing it. They thought this guy was going to be the next John Stockton if you listen to most Orlando Magic fans. So, I don't know, man. But Magic will probably make the playoffs next year. So that's good.
Maybe.
And I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to make a prediction here. I think Nick Vucevic will probably finish his career with the Orlando Magic. And I think he'll probably become the first Orlando Magic player to have his jersey retired. Like, there just hasn't been a player that's been this good for that long on the Magic before. So,
I mean,
but he's earned it.
Like Dwight should have his jersey retired.
Get out of here. Not after
two-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Not how you can't do it.
To the finals.
Dragged the franchise through the mud for 2 years. Left town on terrible terms. Got people fired.
The Warriors retired Katie's jersey.
Yeah. If they never won a championship with Kevin Durant, I don't think they'd be doing that. And even then, I got to say, I feel like it seems... I don't know. If I were the owner of the Warriors, I don't know that I would retire Kevin Durant's jersey. But I get the sentiment. I get that ownership is basically trying to say, we appreciate what he did here so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of a cool thing. But Dwight Howard, it's not like that. Like, to this day, when he plays in Orlando, he gets booed like you wouldn't believe. I went to the last game he played in Orlando with the Rockets, if I'm not mistaken. That's the one I went to. And it was like if I'm not mistaken, it was like his third or fourth game that he played back in Orlando. And the Magic were like, hey, let's play like a little tribute video during a timeout. It's been long enough. The fans won't freak out. I never heard boos that loud. I've never heard boos that loud. I mean, people were laughing on the sidelines. Like, the players were laughing at how it was getting booed. Like, you couldn't even hear what the video was saying. So I just don't think the fan base would accept it. I've always felt like the first guy to get his jersey retired by the Magic should be Nick Anderson, but I know I'm in the minority on that one. Shout out to Nick Anderson. I met him one time at a Magic event. Talked to him for like 2 minutes. He's a really cool guy.
Call it an episode. Yep,
that's going to do it. 1 minute of promotion real quick. So patreon.com/DCD podcast. Go there, check out the tiers. Starts at $1. You can become a member of the egg tier for just $1. It'll allow you to get early access to the show. Last week we got the episode up on Friday for people that are early access. This week it'll probably be Thursday. Don't hold me to that. Might be Friday, but you get the episode early. And thanks to Daniel, one of our patrons, for informing me on how when you sign up, it automatically, if you have like a podcatcher, you can put in your own RSS feed from Patreon and it automatically downloads it to your phone. It's really cool. I didn't even know that was a thing. So thanks, Daniel, for that. Thanks also to Daniel and Jared for being our patrons. And then also t-shirts. You can buy a t-shirt. It's in the link of all of our shows, audio only, video version, all that on YouTube. And then if you're like, maybe check us out on one platform and you're wondering if we're on another, you go to deadchannelduo.com and it has a link to our YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, you name it, man. Like, we're on almost everything now. And then finally, if you give us a review on iTunes and make sure you leave your name on that written review, I will give you a shout out on the show and a fun fact about yourself. Andy, anything you want to talk about before we end off here?
Nope.
All right. That's going to do it for Dead Channel Duo 36. Happy 1 year anniversary, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you for 37 next week.
Bye.